Squid Game took the world by storm when it launched on Netflix last year. However, the Korean thriller's ending left us with a lot of unanswered questions, which the showrunners will probably explore in Season 2. But what do the fans want to see from Squid Games? Well, we scoured the internet and got all the answers for you. First, don't retcon any more characters. The first season of Squid Game starts off with a shocking revelation about the games. Anyone who gets eliminated also dies in real life. Now, this obviously raised the stakes and made the show just that much more thrilling to watch. And of course, some of the deaths were incredibly brutal, but this idea of someone's life truly ending abruptly during these insane games was what made the show so great in the first place. However, by the end of Season 1, we get reintroduced to a character that died during the games, which brought a whole new twist to the entire thing. One person coming back from the dead is fine though, and it kinda made sense with the plot. But according to the fans of the show, they really don't want to see any other dead characters coming back to life again, because that would just defeat the purpose of the show. Despite this desire though, it seems like the showrunners are kinda gearing up to bring Se-byok back for Season 2. Well, not exactly, as apparently she has a twin sister who will be portrayed by the same actor, ho-yeon, but you get the point. It's essentially a retcon of the character just because people loved her role during Season 1 so much. And even though she's not technically coming back to life, it's still a cheap way to retain an actor's role in the show. Next, a deeper look at the frontman. While the majority of the characters running the games were shrouded in mystery, the frontman was perhaps the most intriguing of the bunch. He was already interesting enough as just the supervisor of the games, but when we found out that he's also won it in the past, that opened a whole new can of worms that we just couldn't wrap our heads around. Oh, and he's Jun-ho's brother, which again is its own Pandora's box of questions. So another one of the most requested things from fans is a deeper and more introspective look at the frontman. Like, what are his motivations? How did the games look back when he was competing, and how did he end up running everything? Was he brainwashed, manipulated, or motivated by money? All of these questions remain unanswered, so a story that focuses on the man behind the mask would be super interesting. So what happened to Jun-ho? Speaking of the frontman, what happened to his undercover cop brother? The last time we saw him in Season 1, he got shot by the search party and flopped back into the sea. Now in the show, it is presumed that he's dead, but we all know the golden rule of cinema. If a character dies off-screen, then they're probably not dead. We saw it with the old guy, Il-nam, and chances are that we'll see our detective boy return as well. Also, if he does manage to somehow survive through all that, how will that affect his relationship with the frontman? After all, the two brothers didn't really get to talk to each other between all the chaos. Not only that, but the masked man also kinda changed after shooting his brother, which could also throw a spanner in the works. But coming back to Jun-ho, what does the future hold in store for him? Will they try to bring his law enforcement buddies to the island and shut the whole operation down? Or could he somehow go undercover again and sabotage the games? We need the answers to all of these burning questions. Now, who is actually running the games? Squid Game's first season was full of twists and turns as the truth about the whole operation slowly unraveled in front of our eyes. However, one thing that we truly never really managed to grasp was who is actually running the show. Like, at the start, we thought that the frontman was the main guy behind everything, but then the show introduced us to the VIP spectators, who seemed like the actual sponsors of the whole thing. And in the end, we found out that the old contestant Il-nam is the mastermind behind everything. Now, the old guy running the entire operation made sense at the time, and his reasoning for competing in the games was also sound if he just wanted to feel true joy and fear before he passed away. However, as we saw at the end, the games are still continuing after Il-nam's death, meaning that he either has a successor or that there's someone even higher on the rankings. So, going behind the scenes of the whole Squid Game operation and exploring the people running it could prove to be an intriguing plot for Season 2. But wait, do other countries also do this? Being a Korean show, it's not surprising that the entire thing takes place in Korea. However, one question that was always kinda in the back of our heads while watching the show was, does this thing happen in other countries as well? Like, it's a game show, and usually those transcend borders, right? So is there a chance that we've got an American or an Indian version of the games? Well, the answer to that is actually hidden in the first season of the show. When the VIP audience members arrive on the island to watch the games, one of them remarks that the Korean games are his favorite, implying that there are indeed other regions that do a similar kind of thing as well. So, is it possible that we could expand Squid Game to a more global setting? Also, since the games were so relevant to Korean culture, could other versions have their own sets of games? Oh, and what about the VIPs? Do more of those exist around the world as well? Fans have been clamoring for the showrunners to answer this offhanded comment, although we wouldn't be surprised if we don't go into that territory story just yet. Next, more twisted childhood games. The first season of Squid Game had a pretty good mix of some famous childhood games, and it also did a great job of turning them into a twisted death competition. Like, who would have thought that even a game of marbles could turn deadly? But it did, and that's what's so great about this series, as it can turn even the most innocent of games into something truly brutal. So for Season 2, we'd like to see a wider variety of games, especially those that are more global in nature. You see, the first season started off on a really strong note, but by the end, it kind of lost focus as the story shifted away from the games and followed other characters like the frontman instead. So for the second season, fans want more high-stakes action with other childhood games like tag, hide and seek, and maybe some good old floor is lava as well. They want a tournament of champions. One of the most fascinating things about Squid Game is the fact that the contestants are never in control. So even when our protagonist thinks that he's returning to the games to set the record straight, what if that's what the people behind the games want in the first place? What if the games that he rejoins actually turn out to be a tournament of champions, with all other winners from previous years also taking part with him? Wouldn't that just completely change the whole dynamic of the show? Yes, it would, and the majority of the fans seem to think that as well. Finally, no second season. Despite everything we've discussed though, the one thing that fans want the most, ironically, is no more Squid Game. Many people think that the first season ended on the perfect note, and that the mystery surrounding the games is what makes the whole thing so interesting and thrilling to watch. So exploring all these other characters and their backgrounds would kind of defeat the purpose of the show. You know what they say, if it ain't broke, then don't fix it. Not only that, but we've already seen what the games have to offer, so the next season probably wouldn't come with that shock factor. And obviously, that can make the story less impactful and ruin the great reputation that the show has built so far. Of course, all of these things could easily be fixed by just having a great story for Season 2, but when you look at other shows that have a banger of an opening season, things rarely retain the same quality for a follow-up. However, one area that the writers could explore without tarnishing the first season's image is perhaps a whole new story with no returning characters. The chances of that happening, though, are almost non-existent. What about you, though? What do you want to see from the second season of Squid Game? Do you want the story to focus on the games or the characters? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.